Forward. Carl, take it away.
Well, welcome to and I hope my voice holds out, Bruce. You may have to jump in. I've had a really bad cold for a couple of weeks, and I think I'm finally getting over it. Um, Welcome to the spring 2025 digital competition for the Redlands Camera Club. I've been doing this for a number of years, 4 or 5, I think, and I'm about to turn it over to Julie Lowe, whose picture you may see somewhere on here. Amongst the That's a great backdrop you got, Julie. The stairways. Good job, Julie. Thank you. Julie's going to be taking over for me after today, and of course, I'll be in the background to help her out as we continue on. Um, Tonight's competition, we have a variety of judges. One is has been here for a long time. Um, let me let's see. I got too many screens up here. Uh, And one we got is brand new this time. And all right, let me got too many screens. There we go. View. All right. I'm very sorry that I neglected to get on camera earlier. I took a little nap this afternoon and looked at a clock and said it was only quarter after 5, and it was quarter after 6. So you got to change your camera around once in a while, or your clock once a year. All right, now I have myself lost again here. Um,
Carl, we can just jump right into the first image if you
okay,
want.
there we go. I was looking for my list of judges. Bob Fletcher's been the one who's been with us the longest. Um, Bob has been associated with the Camera Club for quite a while. I appreciate that he jumped in to help us out at the last minute. And Bob does a number of local and far away. I think you went as far as Iceland, didn't you, Bob?
Oh, did we get too aggressive on the muting and mute you, Bob? We don't want to mute the judges.
Okay, I'm unmuted now. Yes,
Okay. Bob has done
we
a
do. We
number
do
of
workshops in Iceland. We have 3 coming up.
so if you look up Robert Fletcher photography, you'll find some very, very interesting uh, expeditions. Uh, mine have been limited to Norco, where I learned a whole bunch of stuff right here in California, which is where Bob is from. Uh, Mike Collins is from PPA, for the Pacific Photographers of California, Professional Photographers of California, and PPC and PPA. And Mike has graciously consented to join us. Mike is an instructor at West Coast Schools and also runs a little Tuesday afternoon competition, or not competition. It's uh, it's like a class. It's Photoshop Party, he calls it, and it's open to everybody. So if you happen to run across, if you look up Michael Collins, you're going to find a lot about an astronaut. It's not him. Michael Collins Photography. And so Mike you'd like to tell us a little bit about, well, you mentioned West Coast schools already. I got you to plug that, but what else can you tell us about it? You said it's what? When's the dates?
June 8th through the 14th, I believe. And I'm teaching at Texas school in the end of April, currently in Idaho now, and with a member of the Professional Photographers of Idaho.
Great. Uh, and our final our final judge tonight is, I guess I lost his name here. I know it.
David Foltz.
David
David
Foltz. Thank you, David. David, I'm really sorry. We've had correspondence over the last few weeks, and somehow I managed to ignore you. Not. This is David's first time being a judge for us. He volunteered out of the blue, and we said, hey, he's a PPC member. Let's get him. So I asked David to join us tonight. David is from Laurie, Virginia, so it's the middle of the night for him already, and he graciously has headed to be a judge for us tonight. David, do you want to tell us anything else about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm a PPA member. I'm here in Luray, Virginia. I'm an East Coast guy, so it's almost 10 p.m. here. But I'm a night owl, so it's all right. I do mostly senior portraits. I have I do weddings as well, and then volume photography are mostly the genres that I'm involved in.
I appreciate it, David, and we'll be talking more after it's over. Uh, Bruce, I guess it's okay. As is our custom, we usually run through a all of our images, but first thing we do is run through the sample images. Do you have control of that?
I
Yes,
do,
Julie?
yes. So, Bruce, do you want to do the check monitor first?
Correct.
Okay. So here's the image.
And judges, just please look at it, make sure everything looks good to you. If it does,
Looks good to me.
okay.
Is
And
it supposed to be purple?
I hope not.
yeah,
Okay, so this
Mine
is,
says waiting for scorekeeper.
go ahead and refresh your screen. You should be.
sorry, I'll go back.
There should be another sample image, Julie.
Yeah, do you want the first sample image?
Yes, please.
Okay, here's the first sample image.
No, there should be two test screens. One.
Okay, here's the second one.
Those will work. All right, and then Julie, we haven't walked through this before, but we typically will then go through all of the images. So just click it, count to 5 or count to 3, but pretty much click it, 1, 2, 3, click the next one, 1, 2, 3. You're just going to go from top to bottom.
Okay, so do you want to go through the entire stack of images then?
Exactly.
Okay. Everyone ready? Okay,
Go ahead.
this is the first image. This is the second image.
Yep. You don't need to announce it. Just 1, 2,
Okay.
3. Go to the next one.
Okay. And that's our last image.
Thank you, Julie. If you'll go back to the beginning now and
Good. While Julie's doing that, Carl, I have the app up myself, so at any time you need to pass it on, feel free.
okay. One of the things I didn't talk about before was our list of categories. Uh, one of those categories is category X, which is kind of mysterious, but
Julie, do you want to clear this image right now so we don't see
Sure.
this one?
Sure.
yeah, go to judges waiting for a minute if you can do that.
Okay.
Or that'll work too.
Okay, I'll just leave it at this image.
Our category X changes every competition, and it's something usually to challenge our members into something that it's something different or something specific in photography that we haven't done before. The category X this time is still life. We had an excellent still life presentation at the club, and so this category X for this competition is still life. So I will announce them as that. The first image tonight is in the children category.
Wow. No, sorry.
And could everybody mute except for the judges, please?
This
There.
is the first image.
The first image is hanging onto autumn in the intermediate, I'm sorry, in the close-up category. Close-up hanging onto autumn. And we have a score of, oh, Julie, you going to announce that?
Yes. So just to let everyone know, the score that I will be announcing will be the average for all three judges. So for this image, the score is 78.
Okay, and Mike, could you please comment on it, please?
I scored this a 79, really close to a mirrored image. I love the colors in the leaf, the sharpness. It's bright and cheerful. There's a line about 3/4 of the way up on the very left-hand side that comes across, looks like a ball that's bouncing through all the little balls there and goes to a bright yellow that's a little bit distracting. Um, might be a little too tightly cropped, but what really impressed me the most is the color and how you handle the color of the leaf. So beautiful image. I scored it a 79.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Our next image
Yep. And then Julie, this is where you'll just, as soon as the judge is done, you'll click on the next image and that will prompt Carl to go.
Sorry, am I supposed to wait for all three judges
Well,
criteria or just one
No, just one judge
for
per
one each image? Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
no problem. This is in the category X or
still live.
still alive. Sorry about that. Maybe it's medication. I don't know. This is still life after the aggression. After the aggression, still life. And Julie, I see an average of 77. I can just announce it and we can go.
Sorry, we didn't have Mike's score yet.
My phone's playing games right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, the score is 77.
There we go. 77. I didn't notice that there were only two scores displayed. This one will go to Bob, 77.
Okay, I scored this a 76. I like the storytelling effort here, but a couple of things that I sort of struggled with. One was the knob on the very bottom was cut off. And whenever you're photographing something, to me, like a leaf or something like that, it needs to be a complete image. Also, the rod and reel that is laying there, you only have a portion of that rod. It would be much better if you could just show the reel or just show the reel with the cork portion of it. Also, the book is crooked. If you look at the edge of the book, it has a slant to it. The book should have been straightened up. The picture of the soldier, good picture. My feeling is it should have been turned a little bit more towards the camera. I think the effort here was really excellent. I love the warm tones. The white linen that is laying there is nicely displayed. But I scored it a 76.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Next image is in the close-up category, soft landing. Soft landing.
Waiting for Robert's score. The score is 79.
This one will go to Dave.
Yeah, so I scored this a 79 in the above average category. Definitely appreciate all of our color harmony and tones that we have going on in this image. What is lacking for me is just a little bit of sharpness. I think it would benefit this image to have maybe a little bit of an unsharpened mask and maybe Photoshop just to up the sharpness just a touch so that we really focus on that beautiful wing of that butterfly that's there.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Next image in the places category, Winter Milky Way Arch. Winter Milky Way Arch.
The score is 79. So Bruce, I have a majority challenge. Is this click save, discuss, and rescore?
I'll challenge it.
Okay, is that the,
Yeah, you give the average first, and then there's a 10-point spread. Is that that would click on
Yeah.
the automatic?
So do you want me to clear the scores or?
No, we have to say what's going on.
Okay.
this is something we haven't had before. It's called a majority challenge. And our three scores are 81, 80, and 75. And since two of the scores are almost exactly the same and one is somewhat below, uh, the system automatically gives us a challenge, and usually we don't take those. But Bruce, if you want to go with this, we'll go ahead and call it a challenge here. Let's see, who was the third score, or who was the 75?
That's Robert.
Okay,
I was.
yeah. So first of all, let's see. This one goes to Bob for his comments, and we'll let you go ahead, and then we'll hear from the other two.
Okay. I love the concept, the idea. However, in looking at this, it looks like to me the foreground is fairly soft. Um, it looked like it was more of a moonlit night for the Milky Way than it should be. Because usually you want to photograph it when the Milky Way is about 18%, or the moon is about 18% or less. And here, either it's an extremely long exposure, or there's a lot of moonlight lighting the foreground. And the colors in the Milky Way just look odd to me. I photographed the Milky Way a lot. I love the arch. I love the concept. I love the idea, but it just wasn't very appealing to me as far as a Milky Way image goes. So I scored it a 75.
Okay, let's see. How about Mike? Do you have your score was a little higher. What do you
I
feel?
I scored this in 81. I like this image because it's something unique. It's not your typical Milky Way shot. Um, you don't have the usual browns and blues floating around up there, and you got this arch with the reds or oranges in there that make it something a little bit unique. Yeah, the closest bush is a little soft. The rocks appear to be nice and tack sharp. Um, so it could be a little bit of wind on that night or whatever, but I actually enjoyed this image enough to merit it at an 81.
Okay, Dave, you have a comment?
Yeah, David. Yeah, so I scored this an 80 in the merit category as well. I definitely appreciate all of our color harmony that we have going on here. I think that the amount of skill that it takes to actually capture the Milky Way like this, and not get trails, not get a good exposure on our land that's here. I think this is a very well done image, and I think it deserves a merit.
Okay, thank you. All right, Bruce, you remember how we do this? You go back, or Julie clear the scores?
The scores are clear.
Okay. So judges, please rescore.
The score is 80.
Scores at 80. Okay, thank you very much. We learned something new tonight. This was something, like I said, is built into the system. It will also build in a challenge if anybody scores 10 points off the average. But if they're also very, very close, it'll do the same. It was interesting to see that. Next image is from the animal category, cedar wax eating a berry. Cedar wax eating a berry.
The score is 78.
And this one goes to David.
All right, I scored this a 78 in the above average category. Definitely appreciate our center of interest that we have here, and the storytelling that's going on with our subject interacting with the environment around it. I think that it's lacking a little bit of focus in those eyes. It is a very contrasty area that's up there, but I lose detail in those feathers. So I think that a little bit more contrast, a little bit more sharpening would help this image. Just be careful with those berries that you don't go too dark with them.
Okay, thank you, David. You go to the next one, please.
Yes, sorry.
This is in the people categories called Father of the Bride. Father of the Bride.
The score is 78.
And it goes to Mike.
Imagine that. I scored this a 78. I like the concept that's here. The impact is really, really cool. Um, but what brought me down a little bit was that the smoke is mostly behind him and not really coming out of the cigar. The flame that's coming out of the cigar should have some flame to go with the lighter there. Um, it just, you got this huge flame, but there's nothing coming out of the lighter. Um, I love the the look on his face, like I am the father of the bride. What are you going to do? Kick me out for smoking? I think it's a really cool image, good concept, but I fell short, not quite a merit, but almost 78.
Okay. Next image is in the open miscellaneous category, Rainbow Oil Slick.
The score is 79.
79. And David, I think I may have missed you on the last.
I think it's Robert's turn next.
It's Robert's turn next. Well, um, okay, Robert, go ahead.
Let me unmute this. There we go. I scored it a 79. I wanted to merit it. I love the concept. I wished it were just a little wider angle because you're cutting off some of the important parts of this. I wished it could gone to an 82 and 83 if you just backed up or zoomed back a little bit and showed a little bit more of it. I scored it a 79.
Maker
Okay.
might consider making a vertical crop instead of a horizontal, which will cut off the sides in the darkness, so all you have pretty much is rainbow.
In the animal category, if a bird were an angel, if a bird were an angel.
Waiting for Mike's score. The score is 81.
And let's see, this one now goes to David. Thank you.
Yeah, so I scored this an 80 in the merit category. Definitely appreciate this moment of capture that we got here with that, our subject that we have. That eye is super tack sharp. All those feathers are really great. I think the only thing that I would probably suggest is just check your highlights on those feathers to make sure that there's still a little bit of detail in the highlight part. But overall, great image.
Okay. In the places category, we have Chattanooga Lights. Chattanooga Lights.
The score is 81.
Then that would have to go to Mike.
I scored this an 80, right at the bottom of the merit category, but it's in the merit category. I love the impact of it. I think the exposure might have been held just a little too long for this because the stars are starting to fuzz a little bit, or it's from the overcast in the sky. I don't know. And then also the horizon line, it's hard to tell if that's on a hill or if the horizon line is off a little bit, if you can just tweak that a little bit. Your presentation, I would probably change that light green color to a very small stroke, like a 3, 4 pixel stroke, to draw attention to it, and then do the outline in the gray. Other than that, it's a cool image. I wish I would have shot it.
Hey, Carl, before we get to the next image, can we take like a 3-minute little break? I have an eyelash stuck in my eye and I can't see out of it.
Sure, you want to hit the judges on break switch, whoever's got that control?
I got it.
Sorry, I'll be right back.
No problem.
Da 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 da.
Sometimes I wake up with that in the middle of the night. For those of you who weren't aware, David is in Florida right now, and that's I think he's in Florida. Well, his address is in Virginia, and so that's the East Coast, and they're on the Eastern time zone, and it's very late at night there. Let's see, 10:06.
And actually 11:06 his time, because I'm 9:06 my time, or 8:06, I'm sorry. He's 2 hours ahead, so he's 10:06, yeah.
Yeah. So that's we appreciate our judges that we have had from the East Coast in the past and our presenters. Uh, it's it's really nice to be able to do this worldwide or nationwide. I was on one competition one time with AEPPV or IEPPV, the Riverside, California group, and they had a judge in Australia.
Okay, I'm back.
And great, I appreciate it, David. Thank you very much. Judges, not out. Okay, we're done with the break. Can we go back to the next image? This is in the animal category. Wind beneath my wings. Wind beneath my wings.
Can we go full screen on the Zoom?
Bruce, I think that's yours. There you
There
go.
we go.
The score is 82.
Okay, let's see. Who did I get for my last one there? I believe that was Mike last time.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then it's Bob.
Okay, I scored this a 79. Um, I like the image. The pillar to me is almost dead center, not quite. I wished everything were shift just a little more left because he almost looks like he's spreading his wings. There's a breeze coming in. He's getting ready to take off, and he needs to have room to move into. Also, just above his beak, there is no detail, it looks like, in the white feathers up there. The uh, highlights should be brought down a little bit if there are any highlights in there. And if you see it looks like a rim lighting on the back of his wings. They're also overly exposed. So I scored it a 79.
Okay, thank you, Bob. The next image is in our category X, and it's English 1 still life. English 1 still life.
The score is 79.
Okay, this I guess we're back to David again.
All right. I scored this a 77 in the above average category. Definitely appreciate where the maker was going with this, with the storytelling and it takes me back to school with all the different colored folders and pencils and all that kind of stuff. I don't think that it being in the bowl was the best idea because it's kind of distracting from the titles and the things that we have going on here. Um, Also, you have to pay attention to your depth of field and what's in your background, and I don't think that this pitch black background is helping the image at all. Think if you might reshoot this and do it more of a shooting down view, like an aerial view of it, it might be a more interesting and in more impactful image.
Okay, thank you, David. Next image is in the category X, and the title is it's hot sauce. Hot sauce. Still life of hot sauce.
The score is 77.
Okay, thank you very much. We're back to Mike, I
Pick
think.
me, pick me, pick me.
Thank you, Mike.
I scored this a 78 in the above average category. The impact is fantastic. Composition, I like the composition, but where it fell short for me is it went really soft, really fast in the front. So like the salt that's on the ground, I'm assuming that's salt that's on the ground in front of the first pepper is like super blurry. The pepper in the front is medium blurry. And then you get to the bottle. The bottle is tack sharp. So maybe a slightly different depth of field and add just a little bit more focus in there. I think you'd have a really cool image. The hot sauce with those peppers, yeah, I ain't touching those. Um, Good image.
Okay, thank you. Next image is in the animal category. Big cottonmouth with baby in the tree. Big cottonmouth with baby in the tree.
Wait, waiting for Mike's score.
Yeah, my phone's playing. Okay.
The score is 77.
And let's see, that was Mike did the last one. Bob, how about you?
We're at a 79. I do not like snakes to start with. And to see two of them together, big, little, whatever they are, just sends chills up my. But I like the overall image. The thing I struggled with is where does one stop and the other start? It's hard to differentiate who's who, and it it's a very monotone looking image, which initially, okay, that's okay. But as I'm looking at it more and more, looking at the scaling and the just slight differences in the scaling, I thought, okay, monotone looks pretty good on this. But overall, I think it could be a little crisper. It's a bit softer than what I typically like, but I scored it a 79.
Hey, thank you, Bob. Next image is in the places category. All that glitter is not gold. All that glitter is not gold.
The score is 78.
And the next one, let's see, Bob just made the comments on the last one, so this will go to David.
Yeah, I scored this a 77 in the above average category. Didn't exactly understand where my maker was going with the storytelling on this in the title. But that aside, I our eye goes straight to if there isn't if there's limited amount of text, that's where our eyes go first because we're trying to make sense of things that are in the image. I'm looking at this Caesar Palace that's kind of warped but also backwards because it's a reflection. And then I have all of these warped, segments of this image, which are actually kind of interesting if you cropped out the vents that are at the bottom. So I think that this would be a much stronger image if it had a little bit more crop on the top and the bottom, and you played with the storytelling in the title just a touch more, and maybe even flipped that image so we could read the palace part.
Thank you, David. Next image is in the close-up category. Friendly orchid. Friendly orchid.
The score is 78.
Okay, the last comment was by David. We'll go back to Mike.
Okay, I scored the 78. I love the color harmony in this and how it just jumps out at you real quick. The sharpness is not strong enough throughout the image to where the center ones appear to be fairly sharp, not perfectly sharp, but fairly sharp. Then you get to the top of the flowers and it's just a big blur. Um, and then also the bottom flowers are extremely blurry and very little focus on the stem that goes down. I like how you put that orange spot behind it in the middle. It adds just a little touch of flavor, but the focal point is probably what held me back the most.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Next image in the places category. Big Sur. Big Sur.
The score is 77.
And Bob, this one's yours.
I scored this as 76. I love the color, the foreground. You have a nice red in there. It sort of makes you pulls your eye into that. The biggest thing I struggled with is that horizon. It would have been so easy to just bring that horizon up a little bit. Water is always level, no matter where you're at in the world. It is always level, and in this image, it's not. I love the clouds. They look good. They add a nice dimension to it, but I just so struggled with the fact that either the camera could have been leveled or it could have been leveled in post-production. So I scored it a 76.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Uh, Next image is places. The red door. The red door.
The score is 80.
Okay, this one goes to David.
Yeah, I scored this a 79 in the above average category. I was almost there to the merit. I thought it could just use a little bit more tender love and care to get it up there a little bit higher. I think it's really interesting that there's this door that leads out to to essentially your death because there's nothing there that's below it. I enjoy that that is in focus, but then some of the other things, like over to the right, the top part of that same building is out of focus. And then I have the building behind it out of focus, but yet the building on the left side is in focus. So I think a little bit of a tighter crop in to that centerpiece, maybe like a vertical kind of pano, tall and skinny, might be add to the impact of that door leading to your death and you plunging. So I definitely think that there's more potential to it with a little bit of tweak.
Hey, thank you, David. Next image, photojournalism. Let me eat my icy. Let me eat my icy.
The score is 76.
Okay, thank you. This one goes to Mike.
I scored this 75. On a initial view, you're looking at it going, wow, that's pretty cool. Good timing with them starting to fold the flag. Um, the image itself kind of leans to the right a little bit. And if you had a flash, a fill flash on either on camera or off camera, this is photojournalism, so um, probably on camera if you had a fill flash where you could light the kid's face up a little bit, it would help it a whole bunch. Um, the title is cool. Let me eat my icy. And the look in his face, like, get out of my face with that camera. But his face needs a lot more light in there and less light on his body. So that's why I scored it as 75.
Okay, thank you, Mike. The next image is the intermediate category. I'm sorry, people in the people category, a father's love.
The score is 78.
The Mike, did you just do one? So with
I
Bob?
just did that.
Yeah, Bob.
I mean, I scored this a 78. Um, I really wanted to go higher. I love the emotion of it. The boy's eyes are closed. Obviously, dad is leaning over and in a way congratulating him for something. It could be a graduation. It could be he's just saying, I love you. The fact that his hand is holding him in the back there like that, in a sense, just sort of gently pulling him. The things I struggled with, there's way too much space above dad's head. That should have been cropped, maybe even crop it square. And dad is slightly out of focus. This could have been intentional because it's focusing on the sun, but I don't think it was. The fact that the lighting here was not very good. Everything is well lit behind him, and you can see the rim lighting on dad's sweater in the back. So that means there was really no sun on the, lighting on the two faces. So, but I love the emotion of it. I scored it a 78.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Next image in places category, Rickett Glen Waterfall. Rickett Glen Waterfall.
The score is 77.
Okay, looks like this one's David's.
Yeah, so I scored this a 77 in the above average category. Definitely appreciate the calm feeling that we have going on with that motion of the water that's going through or over this waterfall. And I think that our the cropping of the image is pretty well done. Maybe crop a little bit more off the bottom. Those leaves that are down there are not adding too much to the story, but I would also add a sharpness layer to this image. I understand that there's blur from the water, but my eye wants to focus on something, and it's not looking like these leaves or the rocks are too sharp. Maybe on the right hand side in that mossy area. But yeah, I think there's just needs to be a little bit more sharpness to this.
So Bruce, we have reached 20 images. Do you want to take a break?
Yes, let's go ahead and take a break.
Okay.
We'll take a bio break, 5-minute bio break. It's 7:25 now. We'll reconvene at 7:30. Feel free to unmute yourself and chitty chat if you want. If anybody's there.
Some of us still are.
Good. Carl, you doing okay? You need me to take
Yep.
over?
No, I'm hanging in there. It's the first time I've been able to say more than just a few words in a week.
Okay. Don't want to throw you off there. Good. I've got two laptops running, mine and my wife's. So I'm seeing, Carl, what you're seeing. And can hand off, you can hand off at any moment or keep running with it. I'm good.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.
Everybody's quiet out there. I'm just surprised.
Hi, Russell.
That's
Oh,
good.
hi, Dorothy. Good to
Must
see
be,
you.
that must be Russ.
Now,
Nice
now we
to
got some
meet you.
chit-chatting going on.
Yeah.
Hey, I love the images you've been posting on Facebook. They look really nice.
Oh, well, thank you. I just went down to Florida and saw some of my photo friends. We got out and shot a while, few days. It was really nice. Loved it.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Yeah.
That is really good.
Tomorrow I'm gonna go shooting and the tulips are starting to bloom here in Memphis area. So
Oh,
we're gonna
that's nice. I'm going to be going down to Texas to actually end up in Oklahoma, but we're going to go to a place called well, it's a wildlife safari place in Texas, and I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's in Glen Rose, and I was told by Rick Salmon that it was a nice place if you wanted to go photograph uh, African animals, and it's in the middle of Texas. Hey,
wow.
so the question is, do you see what type of flowers are blooming in your area right now? The tulips are starting to come up. Any other type of flowers?
Uh, there's some tulip trees that are starting, the purple magnolias and dogwood should be blooming pretty soon. They're not quite here yet.
I have this love affair in Texas. When I was there on my mission, I took a picture of some bluebonnets and a barbed wire fence, and it was in Oak Cliff in middle of Dallas. And so, but it was always a fuzzy image, but it created my love affair for photography. I really liked the image, but after I looked at it a number of years later, well, it's fuzzy.
Yeah.
What the hell was I thinking?
A lot
One
of
of my,
mine are fuzzy.
Uh, I'm
I'm
usually a
getting
little
better.
fuzzy.
nothing more than like a fuzzy image. So
Yeah.
I'm going to
Oh,
mute myself again.
who's muting?
Not me.
What have you been up to, Stan?
Uh, doing stuff around here, helping my grandson with his Warhammers stuff. Just things, taking
Oh,
pictures here and there.
well, that's
Well,
good.
we got some daffodils coming up and some roses that are blooming. I'm surprised already, but
Good. That's good.
yeah, it
It
looks like
has been so cold up here in the desert the last few days. They've got a lot of snow in the mountains. Got a beautiful view of San Gorgonio there with all that snow on it there.
yeah, it's
This is
beautiful from there.
hazy.
Wow. The oranges, are they still in the trees?
Yes, they
They
are.
picked them all, or not down here. They picked them all. I was hunting them down yesterday, to
Oh,
try to get
really?
the oranges with the snow-capped mountains, and they're all
Yeah.
picked.
They should be because, I mean, really, you get the orange blossoms, what, in April, right?
Yep.
Yeah, all the Valencia oranges are gone. They were really good at Burgess Mansion. I only got a small bag this year. I only got the last
Oh,
bag too,
expensive.
so I was
Yeah.
disappointed though. Know anybody else that has those Valencia oranges, Bruce?
I don't, but it's 7:30. We're going to go ahead and get started.
Oh,
Go ahead and mute yourselves. Judges, please don't mute yourselves. Julie, go ahead and show the next image and we'll get this going.
In the photojournalism category, we have Huntington Beach Surf Competition. Huntington Beach Surf Competition.
The score is 79.
Okay, with a 79, and I lost track of who talked last. So,
This should be Mike's.
okay, well, that's good. That's right at the top of my list. Mike.
Okay, I just unmuted myself so I can talk now. I scored this 79. I love the image. I love the water splashing. The color harmony is really cool there. Had it had a little bit more storytelling than riding a wave, her position, it from the looks of the wave, it was she had just finished making a sweeping turn and sprayed up the water. But the position she's in right now looks like it's about a half second late. It's clear, sharp, and I just wish there was more action inside of it to make it score higher, but I scored it a 79.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Next image is Close Up, and the title is Wife Beater. Wife Beater.
The score is 76.
Okay, so I guess that goes to Bob.
I scored it a 77. The one thing I struggled with, I didn't know quite where to focus my eye. Um, it was extremely busy, a lot of color. If you had pulled into one area or the center of one of the flowers, I think it would have had a much larger impact. It was just not confusing. It was just extremely busy for me. So I scored it a 77.
Thank you, Bob. The next image is in the open miscellaneous category, Frozen in Time. Frozen in Time.
The score is 79.
David?
Yeah, so it scored this is 79 in the above average category. I thought it was right there close to getting a merit, but not quite. I would have enjoyed a little bit more storytelling. I know a title isn't one of our 12 elements, but it is like that phantom like 13th element that does add to the storytelling and the impact. So maybe something about frozen autumn or winter came too soon, or something along those lines would have helped tie in that ice and the vibrant colors a little bit more. But then from a technical excellence standpoint, the tips of some of these leaves that we have here are quite dark. I'm losing a lot of detail in them. So bringing those with a little bit of a brightness or a dodge something like that, bring a little bit more of that information so that they're not quite so bold would be pretty beneficial.
Thank you, David. Uh, Next image is in the category X, and the title is Vintage. Vintage. Still life, vintage.
Waiting for David's score.
And give me a second.
Okay. The score is 80.
And let's see, was that David just spoke? So
Yep.
Yes.
Mike is up.
I actually scored this in 84. I really love this image. It is vintage because those round things that are in the front there, I haven't seen for a very long time. The one thing I might have done was not use such a shallow depth of field and allow the camera to be a little bit more in focus to help with it. But these two film canisters are nice, tack sharp, colorful, and draw your attention to them. And I thought it was definitely deserving of merit, so I put it in the upper end of the merit category.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Next image in the places category. Cowboy Sunset. Cowboy Sunset.
The score is 84.
Okay, let's see, this will be Bob's.
I scored this in 83. I could have gone a little bit higher. I really like the concept, the fact that the horses are in silhouette, the colors, the sunset colors, the blue.
Where's Willow?
Either I'm hearing voices or anyway, I really enjoyed the image. I scored it an 83.
Thank you, Bob. Next image in the category X, still life category, strength, wisdom, kindness, sisterhood. Strength, wisdom, kindness, sisterhood.
The score is 78.
78, thank you. This one looks like David's.
Sorry. Yeah, so I scored this a 76 in the above average category. Definitely appreciate where the maker was going with this, with all of those absolutely amazing women that we are showcasing here with all of these different books. Um I am not a fan of the book being cut off down in the bottom right corner. And also in your very black background, it looks like you have some hot pixels, that these little specks that show through. They're kind of distracting. I'm not exactly sure why they're up there. And I'm not sure where the storytelling is coming in with this orchid, this flower that we have over here as well. It kind of is distracting from the books that I want to look at and read a little bit more.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Excuse me, David. The next image is in the animal category, kissing my reflection. Kissing my reflection. That's Mike's.
The score is 79.
Thank you, Julie.
I scored the 79, just barely short of the merit of 80. Um, the impact is really cool. The title goes well with it. The storytelling is there because it looks like they're kissing their reflections, which is what the title says. The only drawback I have, or actually a couple of drawbacks. One is crop, maybe a little bit too tight on the bottom, and then also the highlights are getting really, really tight, really close to blown out. So be careful of those. Um, Maybe just a touch more sharpening on it, and you should be okay. Scored it a 79.
Thank you, Mike. Next image in the people category, having a ball. Having a ball.
The score is 76.
Let's see. That Mike, you just did that one, did you not?
Yes, sir.
So Bob's up next.
I scored this a 76, amazingly. I like the image. I'm struggling with that shoulder that's taking about 20% of the space of the image. It would have been so simple for the photographer to merely step to the right a foot and a half, 2 feet maybe, and that way the dancers would not have been right straight over the head of what I'm assuming is the bride and the groom. And it would have eliminated the shoulder and it would have spaced the dancers between the bride and the gentleman on the right. It would have been just aesthetically more pleasing. I like the idea. I like what you're doing, but a little more thought going into the image. It could have easily have gone into merit category. So I scored it a 76.
Thank you, Bob. Next image in the close-up category, open wide. Open wide.
The score is 76.
76. And this one will go to David.
Yeah, so I scored this a 74 in the average category, top of it. Definitely can appreciate the storytelling that we have going on here. But I think that it's just it may have been a larger picture zoomed in. So I have so much grain and pixelation that's happening on this image that it's not giving me anything that's tack sharp. The eye is fighting to be in focus the most, but it's not. And then all of the detail in the nest and then the baby birds is just lost because we have so much grain and I do think that it might have been a bigger picture zoomed in more.
Great, thank you. In the places category, we have view through the arch. View through the arch.
The score is 78.
78. Thank you. Mike, you're next.
Okay, I scored the 79. Um, I like the framing that has gone on here, putting the landscape inside the arch there. Um, the colors don't seem natural to me. They're just like a little bit oversaturated into the yellows and oranges, a little too far. Um, and if you could put a little presentation, looks like there's a little bit of a stroke going around the outside of it, but if you could add a little bit of a mat or something to help make a presentation, that would be wonderful. And I scored this 79.
Hey, thank you, Mike. In the category X, still life category, corner of the room. Corner of the room.
The score is 78.
78, thank you. That was Mike. Bob's got the next one.
I scored this a 78. I like the image. I wished for a black and white. It had a little more contrast. It seems very flat to me. And also, I look at that dresser on the rear leg, and it has a leaning to it. It- in post-production, that could have easily been straightened up using transform, or either that or the maker just crouched a little bit lower so that that leg actually is vertical, because right now it's leaning too much for me. It's like an architectural shot that's lacking. And a little more contrast. The lighting, I love the lighting and the shadows on it, but a little more tweaking on this, it could be a really nice image. I scored it a 78.
Okay, thank you, Bob. The next image is in the animal category, Serenity.
The score is 77.
And let's see. Bob just did this one. How about David?
Yeah, so I scored this a 78 in the above average category. Definitely appreciate the two subjects that we have here, and then the motion of all of this water that we have. A couple areas of concern. I feel like water is supposed to be level, as it was mentioned in another image. And I feel like that the entire image is tilted to the right just a touch. I would have enjoyed seeing the ripples in the background and the foreground a little bit more level. Understand that our subjects are kind of going in an angle, so that wouldn't be quite as straight. But aside from that, I feel that there is a little bit of color balance issue. I have this blue cast that's happening on those very beautiful white feathers. So I think that it could be that could be tweaked just a little bit, and this image would have much more impact.
Okay, thank you, David. Next image is advanced places. I'm sorry, just places. Places, rare aurora in Joshua Tree. Rare aurora in Joshua Tree.
The score is 81.
Okay, 81. And David just did that, so we're back to Mike.
I scored this an 81, believe it or not. Love the color in this. I love the greens in the trees and the reds in the sky. The thing that kept me down was the lighting on the trees. There's a bright light coming from the left-hand side of the trees, lighting them up, which at nighttime you wouldn't have that. So it's a little hard to find realistic, but the colors and the impact of it make up for it. So I scored an 81.
Thank you, Mike. Next image is in a animal category. Ferocious fighter. Ferocious fighter.
The score is 82.
Hey, 82, that goes to Bob.
Scored this an 82. I like the image. There is a nice space in front of the beak, so he looks like he has room to move into. I wish there was a little bit more room to the right of the wingtip. It's almost right at the edge, and had it, just give it another half an inch or an inch in there if you can. A little more contrast would help it. Not much, but just sort of just give it a little bit of kick. But overall, I really like the image. I scored it an 82.
Thank you, Bob. The next image is in the people category. Olds West Banker. Olds West Banker.
The score is 79. And again, I received this message saying majority challenge.
What a majority challenge is, you have two scores that are one way or the other. So this scored a 79. So there's two merit image scores and one non-merit image score, but the total is below what the average score is, or the two higher scores, I guess.
Okay, appreciate that, Mike.
Okay.
Let's see, is it your turn here?
It's David's turn.
David's turn. Go ahead, and then we'll get comments from the others as well.
Yeah, so I was the one that was on the lower end of this. I scored this a 76 in the above average category. Definitely appreciate where the maker was going with this. However, there's a technical excellence flaw that I am seeing in this image, and I can't really look past it. In the bottom right of this gentleman's elbow, where the wall meets where the wall and the fabric are meeting, it's something odd that's happening there that I can't really explain. Plus the door doesn't go all the way to the ground, and it just looked off to me.
Okay, thank you. Mike, do you have a comment?
I scored this an 80 in the merit category. I see what you're talking about. I think it's just texture in the wall there where it's coming together. And yeah, the door does not go all the way down. It could be a window instead of a door. I'm not sure, but I like the sepia tone to it, and the attitude of the banker with his hands on his lapels. Um, I think this is a mirrored image, and I scored it an 80.
Okay, Bob?
Uh, I scored it an 81. I wanted to just get it a cut above 80. I liked the image. There were things I didn't like about it. I don't think it's perfectly vertical. If you look at the window or the door, whatever it is, you can see it's off axis. The same with the whatever that board is, it's over his right shoulder on our left side. I thought his face and the hat was a little too hot. So the same with the collar on his shirt. It could have been brought down maybe a half a stop, two-thirds of a stop, and the jacket is could have been a little darker, and if you brought down two-thirds of a stop, it would have made everything. But the whole concept, and especially with the black and white dates it. It's an old time banker, and it's sort of that old time look. I felt it was worth the merit.
Thank you, Bob. Do we have everybody's comments? I guess we do. Julie, if you can clear, we can rescore.
Yes, it's cleared. Please rescore. The score is 80.
Okay, thank you. The next image is in the still life category, captured in time. Captured in time.
The score is 80.
Okay. I don't know who picked up the primary in that. I think I gave it to David, so it'll be Mike's turn.
I scored this an 80. I really enjoy the timelessness of this. Then you go into the iPhone that has a picture of the flower in the background, which is pretty cool. I like the treatment that was done to it as far as the toning and color like that. About 3/4 to the left, about middle of the frame, there's a dark spot. I don't know if that's in the wall or if that's a center spot, but it's just a touch distracting. Knock that out with a remove tool or a clone stamp or any of those wonderful tools that Photoshop has. Your presentation is okay as far as the color, the matting around it, but when you have your stroke or keyline going around, you can see that the keyline or stroke gets lost in the upper half of the image. So either separate it out a little bit or change the color of it. I scored this an 80 in the merit category.
Thank you. The next image.
I clicked on it already.
Okay, in the people category, coffee time.
The score is 77.
77. Bob.
For this an 80. I was struggling between a 79 and an 80. I went to the 80 because I like the concept. I like the title. The title makes sense to it. Things I didn't like about it. The fingers are out of focus. They're very soft. I wish they'd have been a little bit sharper, a little more detail. Uh, it looks like they were intentionally shadowed a little bit because you can sort of see that gray tone in them just a bit. I love the idea that the steam is coming off the cup and she's smelling it, but her face is hot. Uh, I wish that could have been probably brought down at least a half a stop. I see the uh, coloring on her eyelids. I like that. It's very subtle. I think a little more work and it could have really come up to a nice image. And also, the coffee cup is not quite, it's not straight up and down. I wish it were straight up and down rather than tilting to our left. But I scored it an 80.
Hey, thank you, Bob.
And this is our last image.
In the places category, Death Valley. Death Valley.
The score is 81.
Okay, 81. So I think that was Bob's comments last. Our new guy. How about David?
All right, so I scored this an 84 at the top of the merit category. Definitely appreciate the lighting that we have going on in this image and all of the different contrast of the rock face that we have here. I think our color harmony is really nice. Some issues that I have have with this is there's a lot of grain that's happening up in that sky, and also in the top left corner and like halfway down the top right corner. I have some banding that's happening in that sky with the colors. So I think that sky could definitely use maybe a little bit of a Gaussian blur, and then once that's applied, add just like a one or two point of noise to add a little bit of texture back there, but not near as much as we have right now. And I think that a little bit of sharpness on this face could really bring it up as well.
Can I make a comment on this,
Sure, go ahead.
please? Um, in the upper section where there's a little puffy cloud off to the right of the big cloud, looks like there's a couple of center spots up there that you might want to take out as well.
Are you talking about the ones that look like a cat sitting there, Michael?
It looks like a cat's face.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's his nose and nostril. Um, but it looks like there's two spots, a bigger one and a smaller one.
Yeah. I'm going to challenge this because my score was too low. After listening to what David had to say, I scored it a 78, and I'd like to bring mine up a little bit. I think it's worth a merit, and I appreciated your comments, David. So if we could challenge this.
Sure. As Julie,
Yeah, the scores are clear, so go ahead.
and rescore judges, please.
The score is 82.
Okay, 82. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, judges. Bruce, I'll give it back to you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody. Julie, it looks like we have a best of show based on my notes. You want to double check that?
I agree.
Yes.
Okay, great. It was wonderful having a couple of new faces with us this evening, both in the competition and in the judging. Appreciate the commentary. Looking forward to seeing where this fits. We've got certificates this time that we're going to be passing out. The new print competition makes uh, certificates for us. If you haven't already uploaded your profile picture, we've dropped in the Camera Cub logo. That will work. But if not, if you want to have your photo along with your photo, then go ahead and upload that on the website. Appreciate it. I think we did this in record time. This
Yes,
is
we did,
terrific.
and I appreciate the judges for their fine analysis. And yeah, we're about an hour short of where we sometimes are, but we didn't have near the chaos at the beginning that we sometimes do, even with my arriving late. Thank you very much.
Just a quick question for the judges. Was it all right working with the Zoom? I mean, you got the keypads going just fine.
Yeah, it
Zoom.
Yeah,
worked well for me.
yes. So I'm always a fan of looking like doing the remote display because that gives us the highest level. I actually halfway through I opened my remote display up and the images looked much more sharp on that than they did on the Zoom. Because it's based on your internet connection. So, somebody I'm in rural Virginia, I'm in a town, my internet's fine, but there was one time, I don't remember what image it was, but everybody froze and then the image was super, super pixelated and then it refreshed. So it took it a second, but I, I think we have a much higher resolution with the remote display because wasn't there wasn't anything added to the Zoom share that we couldn't see on remote display.
Well, we may give you rather than using the game day app, we may consider one of the other ones that doesn't show the categories and the titles.
I don't think
That
that
doesn't
Just
Yeah,
Doesn't
on remote
affect
display,
me.
it doesn't show that.
well uh, on our side, because of the categories that we have, we include the the level of the person, whether they're intermediate or advanced or whatever. We don't want that to skew anybody's scores.
I think
Okay.
most judges should be able to look at the image itself and based on the category like places or still life or whatever the case is, score it, whether it's advanced, intermediate, or basic, it's going to come out pretty much the same score. Um,
We've
I don't,
had internal feedback, so thank you for your
okay.
feedback on that.
All right.
Um, David, I
Thank
know
you
it's
so much.
left. It's late for you. Thank you so much, Michael. Great seeing you, Bob. Always good as always.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
All
All
right.
right.
Thank you, everybody.
Mike, I'll see